okay, because he has the nicest face, and he won't ever come out and yell at me for saying that, so it's always Make's fault. He will never say anything about that. If I said it about Alex, Alex would flame me. Let's go into it. Towers of Doom, game number 1.
All right, let's see. Again, the draft right now, I'm very curious about it. We had already some crazy drafts coming out of North America yesterday, more crazy than usual, because there were a couple of games that were just show games, basically, since both of the teams were very solidified in their position in the rankings that they already had, so they made it a bit of a showcase. And I could see something like this happening here today too. But again, there's still a couple of things that you want to do. In Fnatic's hand, as we said, you want to make sure that you are having... keep your opponent guessing for the playoffs, but one from Monkey's perspective, it's really combos, as I said before, that I want to look towards.
Genji Man comes out. Make, willing to play Genji if he is available in the draft. We've actually have Genji started to make it through draft, with Ronda being banned out, Visto as well. So for that, make sure to pinch that away as soon as they can. Monkeys on their side take away Dahaka. Don't want to deal with that global macro pressure. They're a team that seems to like to group up a little bit more and try and force the fights.
Also, you know that Last Hope is great on Dahaka. He has played a lot of URL lately, so if you want to go into this, you would first pick URL. You ban Dahaka, you first pick URL. I could even see them target, for example, a Blaze here.
Whoa.
Actually going to an Abathur. That's more surprising than anything.
Because the Monkeys hate Abathur.
Yes, they do. The only time that they played Abathur was actually when they had a sub-player with the team, and he was the one that played Abathur. Normally they ban it out, now they pick it. Again, already making it a little bit interesting, you know, for the Crucible, because now an opponent looks at that too and it's like, okay, so do we all actually have to worry about Abathur now too, or do they just like throw that out there?
It also means that you need to perform with the Abathur too. Because if you go, or if this match is them just completely getting stomped here, and then your opponent who's going to be coming into the Crucible sees that you can't play Abathur well, then suddenly they're not going to ban it out, and that's one ban they can hold on to. I think it would be really, really solid here if the Monkeys can prove they can play this, and of course, miss the dress up a little bit if they need to. Sergeant Hammer and Urel is a strong one too, but Monkeys are setting up for more pressure as they come out with Karazim and a Samuro.
Alright.
Okay.
Full cancer. We're gonna see Abathur with Samuro, just like trying to snipe structures. We've seen this on Sky Temple just yesterday from Dignitas. You have a Karazim who meshes extremely well with Abathur, so you can already start to dive on heroes. And Monkeys have just now set the scene. They're saying, okay, we're gonna try and dominate the macro game through Abathur, together with Samuro, and we have Karazim to execute even in-fight pressure onto backline heroes that are squishy, with Karazim getting the assistance of the Symbiote. So Fnatic knows exactly what's up right now, and it also highlights the ban on Dahaka even more. So Fnatic needs a hero. I could very well see, for example, from Urel an adjustment into the level 7 going for the Divine Steed now, simply because you want to be able to react quickly to the Abathur and Samuro rotation.
They also need to start thinking about some wave clear too. I could see a Jaina or maybe even a Gul'dan coming out here. Jaina may be a little bit more helpful if you're able to go into that ice block later, because Karazim will be diving onto those back lines, and Gul'dan, if he's not supported, could be taken out there. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to be moving in towards that wave clear. But I like this response from the Monkeys with that Sergeant Hammer coming out there saying, okay, we are willing to out-rotate you and try to break a fort down somewhere and kind of squelch you into a corner of the map.
This is exactly the reason, by the way, what I personally would be, in case of the Holy Bananas, very much lean towards picking roll 20 over the Monkeys, even though the Monkeys have performed worse throughout the season, just simply because you see something like that coming out in Game 1, and you know they could throw it at you as well when it comes to Crucible matches. And if you're okay going up against wonky compositions like this, and you feel like no matter what they throw at you, you have an answer, no matter how crazy it's going to be, then the Monkeys are a great choice to go up against.
Yeah.
But if you want to go up against a team that is a bit more predictable in the way that they draft and a bit more, let's call it normal, a little bit more meta, then you want to go up against roll 20. So it's all about how good are you at adapting and how good are you trading into comps like this, where we don't have a real tank. We have Zeratul Liming coming in, so it's like an enormous amount of damage. There's not even real, no tank, only Samuro at the front. From a support perspective, you have Karazim, who's probably going to go into damage build regardless, and Abathur on top of that too. It's full-out aggression or rotations.
Junkrat. All right, so Junkrat comes out, and he'll be the wave clear they're looking for. They have Johan here on the front line too. But I do like your point there when it comes to the Crucible and the teams looking at the teams that you want to face off against. Monkeys, it's that surprise factor. You look over to roll 20. It's more of a well-rounded type of strategy with an affinity towards trying to blow up one target. Typically is what you get from Roll20. If you can handle that, you're going to be in a good spot.
Exactly. And let's look at a composition like this from the Monkeys. If you are, let's say, Dignitas. You look at this, you identify immediately, okay, how do we draft against this? You see, for example, Samuro coming in with the Abathur, and immediately you have an idea, okay, how do we counter this? We know what they're going to do, we know what the strength is going to be, how do we play against it? And you normally find your answer, and then you can execute that. If you're a team that comes from the Crucible, though, and you have less experience in a competitive setup, something like this can catch you off guard. So oftentimes for you, it's better if you have an opponent that is more predictable in the way that they want to execute and play compositions. Monkeys are very versatile in what they play, and they have a lot of players with a lot of experience and that are very strong. If they now put in the practice time on top of that too, they can be a scary team. Now, they have a lot of weaknesses to exploit as well.
Sure.
I'm not going to make them sound here like the new mad scientists, like a RD 2.0, but they throw curveballs, and some of those are very, very difficult to catch.
Some of those curveballs hit you straight in the face. You're like, wait, what happened? As you get up off the ground. So looking into the draft right here, I actually really enjoy what the Monkeys have brought out here in game number 1. Gives them a chance to get a win against Fnatic. But with that being said, I love that 4th and 5th pick coming in from Fnatic, giving them wave clear, a stable foundation there on the front line, and Junkrat to jump around the map and make sure that Samuro is contained. It's all going to come down to whether or not the Monkeys are able to open up the battleground like you normally see on Towers of Doom. Let's go into it. Game number 1 in this best of 5 series. Fnatic taking on the Monkeys.
A lot of monkey business already in draft number 1 for the game. Mena on Fnatic's side, though, on Junkrat here to the left with Breeze on Johanna. Shrimpy playing Sergeant Hammer, Smexy on Deckard Kane, and Last Hope on Urel in this first game of the best of 5.
On the right, Alex Aproji leading the Monkeys with the Zeratul gameplay. Crosby coming in here and playing Li Ming. Rimmer on Abathur, Splendor on Karazim, and Make will be the Samuro.
First thing that actually happened in this is that Mena and Maga are trash-talking each other in Swedish. Mena by now is actually a pretty nice vocabulary in Swedish, so he's currently learning quite a bit, has been for the entire year actually. But Monkeys come out with a bit of a crazy draft here for sure. So it's also interesting, Remabola had a bit of a tough time in the tank role just lately, and Monkeys found the perfect answer. They just put him on Abathur so he stays in base the entire time.
What? Monkeys have Splendor on the side who is looking for a flank, but Fnatic actually sniffs him out and puts him down to half health there. Must have barely been spotted there when it came to the vision, because I thought Splendor was actually in a good spot. But Fnatic gonna do just fine, head to the bottom and start up clearing, while Urel will be the main focus for the Monkeys. Last Hope is gonna have to make sure he's keeping an eye on that minimap.
So there's a couple of aspects with this. The Monkeys have a really fun draft that in the end is designed to play around the opponent, not engage into too many team fights, and just simply try and play the Samuro Abathur card here. You have on top of that then also Karazim Zeratul with Abathur help and a Li Ming as a finisher, who always can go into a single target and try to snipe it. So that's the idea of the Monkeys. Play the macro game, don't engage into any poke battles since you only have an Abathur solo support, well, basically solo support, because I still expect that Karazim is going to be rotating a lot. But make sure that you don't end in too many poke wars. If you engage, you want to get a quick kill. But ideally, you want to delay fights and play around Samuro. Fnatic, on the other hand, is going to play with Sergeant Hammer and try to siege up here, while still reacting in terms of the soak through the wave clear that they have, especially with, of course, Junkrat, as you pointed out.
Li Ming doing your best to poke Sergeant Hammer, but luckily for Shwimpy, he has a couple of support heroes that make sure to keep him alive. He has Johanna on that front that can drop down the Iron Skin if needed, but also tank the damage coming his way, especially the Walls of Hope picked up at level 1. And then Deckard Kane, one of the best supports you can get for just sustaining through poke that's coming your way if you're able to set up. So they break down the turrets and grab the gate here, and it's going to be a bit of a trade of damage on top of forts as Samuro and Karazim are pushing into Urel.
Yeah, and that trade is what we're going to see throughout most of the game. You see Junkrat already rotating to the top lane right now, because Last Hope just simply has no chance of dealing with this pressure that's coming his way. Oh, Mena, nice push here by Last Hope. Alex actually in trouble for a second. But there's the exact pressure that we've been talking about. You're trying to play the structure game. You're using Samuro, you're using Karazim and Abathur. Just go for structures the entire time. And right now, Monkeys have more clear. at least when it comes to taking down structures. So they drop the bell tower up to the top lane. Fnatic is working on the one at the bottom, but we're going to see Monkeys now rotate towards either the next or even trying to flank the bot lane and defend their own.
I like the commitment from the Monkeys. One of the issues with the composition for Fnatic is they don't have anyone that really destroys a Sapper camp by themselves. They can do it, but it takes some time. Johanna was the one that was done in this example, because typically when you have your top lane being pushed in, you push in for the Sappers, and that's your trade-off. You're able to grab the altars. So Monkeys now have a forward lead, and will begin to start looking towards the tributes.
A lot of people will look at this composition from the Monkeys and think, okay, this is pretty memey. But to be absolutely honest with you,
it's terrifying.
It's scary, yeah. It's really scary. If you are able to get ahead of the Monkeys in this game, from an experience perspective and talent perspective, then it's difficult for them to come back. But if they run the show and you have to react the entire time to the rotations, then it's absolutely terrifying what they are currently having in game. And you can already tell that they are doing a really good job when it comes to map control. Shrimpy is now about to get that bottom bell tower, but it comes really late compared to the time when the Monkeys were able to get the bell tower topside.
Might even be a chance here for Monkeys to come down and try and jump on top of Sergeant Hammer. She does finally get the bell tower. Ooh, Crosby's low on mana. Wouldn't recommend going for the full hair. Thunder comes in, there will be a dash available. Can go to Crosby. Can Crosby get an orb off? It comes in and connects. Alex Aproji going for the chase. A scroll comes out from Decker Kane, and now Alex may be in trouble.
Alex on the way back here. I mean, they put the pressure on, but it's now a 4-4-4 in terms of bell towers. Again, Last Hope is already working on the top. But this is going to be what's happening throughout the entire game. And as predicted earlier, we also have now the adjustment on level 7, the Divine Steed for Urel. Last Hope needs to be reactive. He needs to be quick on his feet if he wants to match rotations later on, especially since Marke is going to get more powerful on his Samuro. And then you have also Abathur, of course, to help them out. And even now the network carapace taken on level 7 for Abathur, so even speccing more into that idea of pushing out lanes on the other side of the map.
Every second counts here for Fnatic. The Divine Steed is going to help out there, as mentioned by Kaldor. But also another thing, too, is Johan's been powering her Condemn there with the level 4 pickup as well, just to make sure she can keep up with the wave clear. There is another element to this type of composition, too. We mentioned that Samuro, Abathur, kind of leeching on the battleground and breaking down your bell towers, but also as we move towards that level 16, that Zeratul, cheeky. We haven't seen one of those in a while.
Yeah, ADRD style. Let's see who walks into that minefield. It's good altars spawning for Fnatic because it's difficult for Monkeys to reach, especially the bottom one. That should be a free channel, even though Karazim is now making his way over to interrupt that. But yeah, it's a pretty good approach that we're seeing here from them. So right now I'm especially curious to see if the Monkeys are able to get any of these two, because again, they're very difficult when it comes to accessibility.
Well, you're gonna jump on your rail here. There's lots of a jump. Alex comes in with the Vorpal Blade, Splinter with the punches, and the Monkeys actually find first blood this game. Decker Kane has started the channel though. Can Crosby delay? Crosby is delaying, so now the Monkeys can look to head on over with the bird advantage to see if they can find a target.
Yeah, they're still at minefield and they're headed straight for it. Good damage against Shrimpy. He needs to be careful. And now Crosby is starting the channel here. Interrupt is going to be there. Last Hope back in a second. First interrupt, Mene immediately following it up with a couple of nades, and those are also starting to really hurt Crosby. Karazim has to start healing them up now, and that's exactly what he does. But the Monkeys are now being pressured back. So this is exactly one of the problems. You have a support with Karazim and you have Abathur, but you don't have a tank to tank a lot of the damage. So in a poke battle, it's still an advantageous situation for Fnatic. And therefore, once it starts to become that stalemate, with both sides poking, but especially, of course, Junkrat getting those nades through, then you have to fall back at some point. And that's what we just saw here in action. So the Monkeys are falling behind when it comes to points on the core, but they still have this enormous pressure play through their hero setup that they're running here. And now with level 10, this is of course going to become even more dominant.
Even though having a tank, you still got Fnatic, and they have some of the best control a portion of the area heroes that are available in the game. Fnatic is going to fight against the Monkeys. Monkeys have level 10. They come in with the VP and try to lock down a target, but Twippy is able to boost his way straight to the bottom bell tower, and Monkeys don't find a kill.
Splenda had a very late 7-sided strike there. I was actually surprised because once that Fnatic started to try and reach the bell tower, he could have set that up so that they needed to go through the entirety of the 7-sided strike, but he used it really late and it made it easy for Fnatic to actually escape there. So, a bit weird, but we also have, while all of this happens, there's still Urella at the top lane, and she's going to take down that bell tower. So, Monkeys are starting to lose a bit of the ground on the map. They're starting to really I'm not quite sure if I really like the way that they're approaching this right now.
They're approaching team fights a little bit too much. It feels
Exactly. Like at the beginning, they did really well, just like running Samuro on the offlane and then helping out with Abathur. And when nobody rotated his way, they used Karazim to even put more emphasis and pressure damage onto that particular push. But now as they are trying to get the bell tower back at the bot lane, instead of just going for continuous trades, they're running into the big problem that Fnatic can siege up on that bell tower that they already hold and defend it quite easily. So the Monkeys have now lost a bit of ground on the map. They're getting the bell tower back, but they are now the ones that are starting to react to Fnatic, while for the entirety of the early game was exactly the opposite.
Yeah, you want to dictate the pace of the game if you have a Samuro on your team. There is still good news. 5 more levels, and they'll have the level 16 for Zeratul, and of course his self-contained wombo combo with that cleave build finishing. But Fnatic is starting to take a pretty massive lead, which is something that you enjoy having against an Abathur Samuro composition. Yeah. 35-22 in core shots. And Schwimpy and crew are making headway here on the bottom right bell tower. But look at this, Monkeys are making a play on the boss.
Yeah, they're sneaking the boss right now. And with Samuro, they can definitely do that, and Fnatic just doesn't really see it coming. Also, Fnatic has heroes at the bot lane, so they can't really react to this.
Yeah.
But the boss gives you 4 shots, it doesn't give you map control, and that's what Fnatic is currently taking again. They're taking control of the bot lane. They're very likely to lose the top side now, though, since that push is just continuing. But Fnatic is currently absolutely fine trading these engages.
Ooh, they even can trade out a kill, too, as they take out Li Ming with the BFG. So Fnatic finally grabs the bottom of the map once again. Monkeys did respawn in kind by taking up that tower in the top left and are staying even in experience. But they're starting to really lose the control of the game, it feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, Fnatic is completely on point here. At 13, when Ripper Air comes online for Junkrat, he'll be able to swing between the middle and the top to help out Yrel wherever there is pressure for Samuro.
Fnatic is playing this extremely smart, and they are currently capitalizing on the importance of the bot lane because you have 2 mercenary camps that are pushing through here. So they're just trying to hold on to that for as long as they can and use Yrel to slowly whittle away at the hit points on the top side and regain their own bell tower. What Monkeys have to do, they need to really start and go to just like push the mid lane, for example, whenever they can, rotate with the rest of the heroes. But right now, they are in trouble. They can, of course, also attempt to go for a snipe here, but they need to set it up that they can go in very, very quickly with all heroes on one target, and currently that's just not likely.
Yeah, you don't want to give time for Yrel and Junkrat to head down there. All right, 1 altar spawns. It will be south. Monkeys look like they actually want to come over and contest. Alex is stealth there on the top left. It's going to be a double Zeratul play. See if they can find someone to jump onto. But Monkeys play it slow, or Fnatic plays it slow. They actually get near their towers, and they play near the bell tower, and they just put Monkey in a really hard place.
Yeah, 7-sided comes out, and that doesn't do anything. Fnatic tanks that with 3 heroes, so very little damage on them individually. Nice BFG here, but Crosby with a quick teleport gets out. Void Prison against 3, but the problem is there's no follow-up. It's just a defensive 1 to make sure that everyone can escape from the position, and that means that Fnatic can reclaim another altar and can therefore get another 4 shots onto the Menagerie, which will put them down to 15 points on the core.
Fnatic just put them in the greatest spot there when it came to actually dealing with a fight that was coming their way. Monkeys were in a situation where they had to be fast and furious with their engagement, and Fnatic made sure just to slow it down, turtle-like, as they sit next to their altars and, of course, their bell tower. If Monkeys can find a way to jump onto a target, get a VP on a couple on the back line, and then burst someone down, Decker Kane would be optimal here. That's how they get back in these fights, but every single time Fnatic expects it, they set up well, and Monkeys just cannot break it.
To be honest, I would really love the Monkeys to apply some pressure in the mid lane too. Now, it's of course the most difficult lane to take because the rotations from the top and the bottom are so quick. But Monkeys have good vision on Fnatic trying to secure the bottom bell tower. And the reasons we talked about this, you have access to 2 mercenary camps. We see it coming into play again as they're trying to escort 3 of those through, and they're going to get at least some damage in. But during those times, you can literally start to just take the middle. We have great tools for the Monkeys to make that happen, but they don't do that. But if they would take more bell towers, they would get more map control and then could play around that. But right now, they're playing Fnatic's game. They won't break through these defenses.
30-12 on shots, Make stepping forward, using the Illusion Master to put some damage on Schwimpy, but with that armor coming in and the ability for him to get out of the fight, he is just fine. Decker Kane helping him out, and Johanna to peel. The Monkeys unable to get anything there. Sapper's even going through 2, 30-12 so far here for Fnatic, and with a 3 altar phase popping in, Monkeys are getting close to lethal.
Yeah, Monkeys are in a tough spot here. I mean, theoretically, the game could end right here if all 3 altars are channeled by Fnatic. That's unlikely to happen, obviously, with the setup that the Monkeys are running here. but we are still in a position where Fnatic has now the chance to really put them down to 4 points, and once that happens, it's a boss play.
Ripper Tire coming over here.
Right.
Slow down Splendor. It only hits one.
Monkeys are making the aggressive play. They're trying to get at least 2 altars here, and it's understandable why. Double channel already happening. Market barely interrupted. Alright, shots already taken on the other 2 altars. The Slug channeling 1, and now it's a fight over the top left. Finally, also the quest completed for Samuro. That's definitely going to help. Only 2 kills so far in the game, but the Monkeys are down to 8 points on the core against the 26 that Fnatic is holding.
I mean, knowing Monkeys, they're probably just going to force a fight here and decide whether or not they're going to win the game, period. With the boss spawning up pretty soon, they're going to go ahead and start to group up. They have that 16 here for Zeratul, that big power spike that you're looking for, because if Fnatic sits here, they are content to relax all day. They have mana who can drop down constant grenades and make sure nobody goes over the channel. If they have to use Smexy, he has a great ability to delay that as well.
And again, we're coming back to the point that we made earlier. A poke battle is something that the Monkeys don't really want, and that's exactly what they are forced into now. So this is more and more looking as if Fnatic is going to take another bell tower here, another altar, sorry. Already Last Hope zoning the top a little bit. Here goes the kill against Li Ming, and that's another 4 shots fired, putting the Monkeys down to 2, since 2 of the sappers were able to go onto the core as well. So now it's literally a play for boss that you can make, or you can just try to get another camp escorted through the bot lane.
Monkeys will have to play flawless now, or the game is over. As you mentioned, the boss up, next altar comes in. Fnatic can try to slow down rotations for the Monkeys. The one saving grace is that you got Samuro and Zeratul, who bring in the decent amount of mobility. Oh my gosh, Monkeys are just straight going for it. As we see a few members go down the bottom left, Johanna will come over and scattered out, but she's all by her lonesome. And there it is, 4 shots, so at least Monkeys pick that off the board.
They have a really good boss clear. With Samuro, Zeratul, Karazim, Abathar, they have fantastic boss clear in their hands. So they're going to take that. For Fnatic, even in a 5 versus 4, it was difficult to go for it because of the heroic abilities that the Monkeys are running here. Especially a good Void Prison could have ruined their day. And so they're willing to not really take that fight. They look at it from the long con perspective, and it works really well so far. Again, Alex going in. Lornado coming out too, trying to escort a few more shots in. A lot of damage. Jacoby and Abathar is already down. And here comes the attempted kill with a 7-sided strike. Carries himself for a second, but Splendor goes down. And that's another kill secured for Fnatic.
At least the sappers don't get through, though. That was a position. Oh my gosh. Poor Make. Schwimpy delivers a BFG.
Yeah, and that's checkmate. You go for the camp, you cap the camp, and then you move towards the 2 altars. And no matter what happens, something is going to get through here.
All right, Alex, see if you can snipe somebody here. I think I find a pick. Back into them up to at least wait for the teammates to get back.
Yeah, there's no way.
Believe. I don't believe. Goes Cleave on the Smexy. Okay.
The camp goes through, and that's game.
Oh, there it is. Fnatic disrupts the pace of the Monkeys.